So what were some of the things, if you can speak about them?
Yeah, so like I mentioned last year when we had this conversation, I think we can continue to get better at our progressions, footwork, how we manage games, situational awareness, the things that all quarterbacks have to continue to get better at. There were a number of things that come up that young quarterbacks have to be aware of as games go on. When you get to the red zone fringe and maintaining field goal position and decisions that are made in those areas where you want to make a big play, but the smart play might be to check it down so you get us in field goal range. Things like that. That's what we talk about, situational awareness. On top of all the progressions, and then growing as a leader off the field, in the locker room, and what that entails and what that looks like. And as you gain more experience and status on the team and the league, within the organization, what opportunities that presents for you to take a little bit bigger voice and setting accountability and expectations. So those are some of the things we talked about.
Have you seen that from him? We noticed he's a little more talkative at the podium with us. Has he been more in meetings or in the locker room? Have you noticed that just at the end of last season, maybe?
I think it's just a confidence thing. I mean, when you first come here, there's a lot. I think of what Tanner Mordecai is going through now. You're swimming mentally, and it's hard to be assertive and demonstrative and be a leader when you're thinking a whole lot and about your job. So definitely, I've seen Brock grow in those areas, and he needs to continue to.
Him being here and having a full off season where he's not worried about rehab or just getting to learn the offense. Have you seen tangible ways that has helped him just here in the last few weeks or a couple months?
Yeah, like I said, I think understanding his role, understanding the mental aspect of it, understanding how close we were last year and that there's an edge and a sense of urgency, and understanding your role in helping to use that to get better as a team collectively. Yeah, I've seen areas of growth in all those areas.
What do you like about Josh Dobbs? What do you think he brings to this situation?
Yeah, Josh has played a lot of football, and he's been in some really unique situations in the last couple of years where he was put under duress, both physically and mentally. He was able to go out and to play at a level that was winning football for the organizations that he was playing for. And so that kind of piques your interest to know that there's a guy like that can handle it mentally, that physically can do it, can play the position, and that is able to garner support quickly from a locker room and gain their respect and go win games in a short amount of time like that. So a veteran guy that we know can play and has come in and fit in well.
Have you seen the improvement you see from Brock in terms of arm strength? How has that gone from where you got him to where he is now, and how does being healthy and having the whole healthy offseason help maybe taking him further in that area?
Well, I think being healthy is definitely going to be a benefit to Brock, having a whole offseason. Things that we can work on, not just his arm, but his whole body, and getting out there and working on his footwork. It's hard to work on your footwork and timing as a quarterback if you're not throwing the ball. And last year we tried to work on timing and footwork, but when you don't have to then translate it to actually throwing the ball, it doesn't match up. So I think it's just a real benefit for him to be healthy and to go through a whole offseason.
Right, it's no secret that coaches off this staff are pretty coveted by other teams and get other opportunities. There are reports that you'd interview with the Saints to be an offensive coordinator. Is that something you aspire to? I mean, you've been in this grind for a few years now. You know what the hours are like. You know what it's like now as opposed to TV. Is that what you aspire to? Have your own offense or head coaching?
I wouldn't say that. It's not something I spend a whole lot of time thinking about. I know it might sound different, but I really I am accountable to the guys that are in my room and to this team, and I know when I was sitting in their seats, that's what I wanted from my quarterback coach, and and that's kind of what I enjoy. And you never know what's going to happen down the road, but as of right now, I'm happy with the I'm very grateful for the guys that I'm working with and the situation that I'm in.
It seemed to me just to the naked eye that from year 1 to year 2, Brock in year 1 was a little inefficient rolling to his left, and year 2 lights out. I mean, starting with that Pittsburgh game, he made several big plays rolling to his left. Was that a point of emphasis in between off seasons 1 and 2, and is that something that you guys have really documented that he's gotten better at?
Rolling to his left? No.
You may have already answered something similar before I got here, but what did you see as the biggest leap in Brock's development this past season?
I don't know. Did we answer that?
I don't think so.
Tim was talking.
Got a fresh answer.
Tim was, he was grilling me on it.
Yeah.
He wanted bullet points.
Sounds like a Tim.
I try to leave something to imagination, Tim, just so that everybody in the league is not focusing on what we're working on. So, well, we talked about a lot of things, but I think probably the most important is Brock continuing to grow off the field as a leadership in a leadership role within this organization. And I know it's no small feat to be the leader of the face of a franchise and leader of an organization, and that takes time to get the confidence and be comfortable in that position. And understand all the little things that you do during the course of a day, of a week, of a month, of a season that lend into that. And Brock is growing in that area, and I think that's really cool.
You have to all discuss, like, I know he doesn't talk about money, he cares, he doesn't say he cares, whatever happens, but everyone knows what's coming from him next year, obviously. You've seen guys who've had that adjustment. Probably had some adjustment yourself to it. I mean, do you have to talk about it? Do you have any, okay, there's going to be a change in your life of unbelievable consequence in a year if and when that big contract comes?
I haven't talked to him about that, no. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point, but I haven't had that conversation with him yet.
Have you seen, is there a model that you go, man, that's a guy who has done it right? Is there...
Oh, I think there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that have success, sign a contract, and they don't change, and typically those are the guys that play the game because they love to play the game. They don't play the game for a paycheck, even though the paycheck's nice, and it's a career, and it sets you up for stability with your family and your generations of your family. Everybody understands that. But the guys that I see handle it best are the ones that truly love to play, and they love to compete, and they love to be with their team and their teammates. Those are the ones that I see transition the best when they get a big contract. And that's exactly who Brock is.
Brian, he's a very studious guy, and probably helped his transition so well. Does he, how often does he reach out to you for counsel or advice, either text in the middle of the night, during game weeks? How much does he need direction on, play-by-play, anything?
No, typically we do most of our back and forth in the office during our meetings, and I appreciate he's not texting me in the middle of the night. But no, he's pretty self-driven and motivated, and if he has questions, he'll have them when we meet in the morning, or we'll go through a lot on the field, but it's typically not in the middle of the night.
I remember now saying that Peyton Manning would text him all the time.
That would drive me crazy, yeah.
Sorry if I missed it earlier, but Brock having a regular full off-season, how beneficial is that going to be for him going forward?
Yeah, it's important. It's important for a lot of reasons. And I'm just happy that we can work on some of the fundamentals that we weren't able to focus on last year. Footwork and timing and rhythm, and I think that's only going to benefit him.
And even without that last year, how impressed were you with his performance?
Pretty impressed.
With Kubiak leaving, has there been any kind of juggling of responsibilities? Has your role at all changed?
I don't know. That would be a question for Kyle. I don't know. My role hasn't changed a whole lot. Most of my time is spent with the quarterbacks, installing the game plan and doing all of our fundamentals and mechanics. But I honestly don't know if there's going to be changes in the responsibilities coming into the season. So
Brian, was there one play that stands out above any others from last season that Brock completed a pass or attempted one where he said, wow, like I know there was one in Jacksonville where it was under heavy pressure and found Kittle down the sideline. Is there one that jumps out in your mind?
The ones that stand out, we might design a play for one thing to happen, and, Brock might miss a read where the ball's supposed to go, and then on the sideline we're like, oh man, we missed it, that play's dead. And then all of a sudden, he's moving around, he's extending, like the play in Washington, he throws a touchdown to BA. And that was an example of that. And I think that we remember those because you have a low, right? We missed it. It was third down, and then it's a high, right? I remember more of my interceptions than I do my touchdowns. It's just human nature. But then when you put both of them into one play, like those are the ones that we remember. Obviously, some of the scrambles in the championship game are like that as well. So those are a couple of the ones I remember.
Having that full year with Brandon Allen last year, what did you see from him, and how do you kind of view that number 2 quarterback role going into this year?
Well, the backup quarterback role doesn't change. I mean, it's a critical role on the team, as we saw 2 years ago. And Brandon is a vet that we think very highly of, and he has the experience of being in the league, of being in that role. As a backup for Joe Burrow for a number of years. And so I think Brandon is a smart vet who understands our offense, is a great counsel for Brock. Those two get along really well. And I think that Brandon has a lot of talent to throw the football on the field and knows our offense and can anticipate, get guys lined up, get in the right spots, and can make those throws. So we're excited about Brandon.
He's obviously been here, but do you view that as a competition with him and Dobbs?
I hope everybody thinks it is a competition.
What does being here do for an offensive coach?
I mean, I think it's all about being a product of kind of the success of this organization. It starts with Kyle and John. Obviously, Kyle, in the offense he runs, he's a great teacher. He teaches coaches. He wants coaches to learn and to kind of grow into the roles that they grow into. So it starts with those guys and their leadership and the positions that they put us in to coach, to learn this game, teach it to the players. Just being around those guys and absorbing it. It's also a product of success. It's no secret that NFL teams are going to look for coaches who are part of winning teams, and we've had success here. I think that kind of goes along with it as well. So it's a combination of things, but it's a great place to be, that's for sure. A great place to learn.
When you look at Kyle's so well thought of in terms of the play calling and the play design and all that kind of thing, but it sounds like when you talk to you guys individually that you guys get a lot of it's not independence, but you do a lot of he coaches you to coach, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it. You want coaches to be learning. You want coaches to be training to kind of take the next steps and to elevate in their roles, and that you're just building better coaches around you when you do that.
Do you aspire to that, to move to run your own offense, to be a head coach? Or I asked Brian that, and he kind of shut it down. I'm in my room right now dealing with my guys.
Yeah, I think most of us coaches have aspirations of what we want to do, but it's like anything else. You want to be the best for the Niners. You want to win a world championship with the Niners. And if you're thinking about other things, and you're not going to be your best self. And so we're just here to go one day at a time and get our players as best as they can be so we can win a championship.
What's the shift and change in title for you entail as far as change in responsibility this year? A little less QB and more passing oriented?
Yeah, maybe probably a little more holistic, passing game all around, dealing with all the skill position groups a little more closely, which I've kind of been doing, the past couple of years as well. I've been with quarterbacks, but kind of had my hand in a lot of things, but I guess just expanding the role a little bit, and a little bit more responsibility in some areas, yeah.
Is this the same role that Clint had last year?
Yeah, I guess so. Clint and I work together really closely, but yeah, I guess it's the same role.
And you talk about, the offense being holistic, and I know Kyle loves to tie, pass, and run together. So even though you're focused by title on pass, are you still working a lot with Brian doing, run stuff? And
Absolutely, yeah. It all ties together. Starts with formations, starts with our scheme and how we want to tie runs into play actions and protections and all of those things. So it all ties together, and we, Brian and Coach Firster, we all do a good job of kind of working together to try to make our offensive install look like what we're going to be in the season.
Is he I know in college he would stay after practice and catch. Is he doing the same? Just putting.
They've been here every since he's been here. They've been in the building from morning to evening. Putting in the work. Just trying to stay on top of it. Like myself, himself. Everybody wants to happen overnight, but that's not going to be the case. It's going to take time to learn. It's going to take time to get a full understanding of how to get open versus this leverage, and this defense, and even just, jumping off the rock, when it's free access, it's gonna take time, but once it does click, he got the ability, to go out there and put it together and make some plays for us.
Tell us a little bit about Isaac Garendo and what you see from him and how he would fit into this offense.
Well, it's early, but number one, we were looking for speed. And he not only the speed, but he has the speed, and he's bigger. He's 221, 222 pounds, and so we needed another fast runner, in our offense. Now I'm speaking not the head coach and everyone else can speak for themselves, etc. But he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his body, but he's very very coachable. Okay, so during my interview process leading up to this. But the very first thing I saw on tape was the ability to break the long runs and, take it to the house. Hit the home run.
Yeah, his 4.3 speed was pretty incredible.
Yes. He was. I'm pretty sure that was the fastest time at the combine for the running backs. And so that was number one criteria. But I saw it on tape. Okay, I saw that on tape. Now I didn't know at the time when I was making his tape that it was the fastest second. I didn't know that, but I know he could run, and I know he had size. And then when I was talking with him, he's very detailed. He understood what I was asking. He had the ability to, explain it. He also, I want a player to know what the person next to them are doing. In other words, what's the offensive lineman assignments? Who are the pullers? Okay, what's the most important block on that play, etc. Okay, to be able to run with their eyes, have great vision, okay, and then when there's daylight there, then to be able to hit the hole and make the big play, and that's what that whole ordeal I was very impressed with.
And he said that you called and texted him frequently during the process, and that he was very good about responding in a timely manner.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. That's when I say a player is professional. And accountable. Those are certain things. I started 52 years ago, and it's just for me, they don't really change. That doesn't mean if he didn't return those and he could play and he can help us win, that I wouldn't have still felt the same way about him. But behind the scenes, I'm the one that's held accountable for those guys. Okay. And they usually don't change. So when they're not returning this and not doing this and not doing that, not only am I working harder, everyone around me is working harder to try to get that done.
How do you have time to make all these text messages and calls to these players during the process?
Well, I'm glad that you realize that. Yeah, it's not just something that comes easy. So you do have to work at it, and you have to love it. It's just like the love of the game. It's part of the job. And so I love what I'm doing, and I want to be the best at what I'm doing. And I have to be able to look myself in the mirror, that I did the best I could do during that whole evaluation process. Same thing with preparing weekly for the games, regardless of the score. And obviously, if you do, and I feel when I get better, I can make everyone around me better.
And he told you that you called him while he was talking to us in his...
Matter of fact, he did, because I was... wanted to contact him even earlier, and so then I said, let me give him a little time for our people, for you guys, to talk with him. And so then I called it, sure enough, just to congratulate him and I let him know how happy I was personally, that he was a 49er, and then he told me he was on with you guys. Okay. Yep.
How do you see him fitting in? I mean, like, you've got many different types of skill sets in your running backs room. Christian, obviously the lead guy, but I mean, you've got Elijah and Jordan Mason still. I mean, what is Isaac Rendo, other than speed, what does he bring that's different?
Well, that's the number one thing that he possesses. Okay, is the speed. The other thing is his character traits, though. Okay, if a young man is coachable, and that's what I really feel, and not only feel, believe that he's coachable and he has the ability to pick things up. But he also is a running back. He's got running traits. Okay, so that's for starters. He's got running traits. All right, and then the other things, he's going to have to be able to do it all. But when you're coachable, okay, and I feel and know that I could coach him to get him to do the extra things, even better, to even be a better runner, because we're looking for certain things, and it's got to be. You just can't throw. I know everyone. I'm speaking for myself. Feels you can throw anyone into the backfield in that system that we run. I've never believed that. We put a lot of time and work in to get that system to work, and with all that time and effort we put in, if you have the right running back in there, then it does make it look easy.
It seemed to me that this group of rookies, more than the last few, are more mature. They've spent more time in college. They have the NIL, so this is not the first time they're making money. Do you feel like this group of rookies, coming out of the draft, were a little bit more mature, better head on their shoulders?
Now, you mean for you're speaking for the running back group?
Yes.
You talking about
when you were speaking to all the running backs who spoke, through the draft process, did you feel like they were more mature?
Oh, yes, that's one thing that, yes, I do. I'm in a total agreement with that. Yeah, I was very impressed because I spoke with all of them, so I was very impressed with all of those guys.
It just seems like with them staying in college a little bit longer now because they can make some money in college that, they're a little bit older. Sometimes, like you said, Grando at least doesn't have as much wear and tear on his body, but just that extra experience seems to add to the maturity level of guys coming out.
Yes. And again, it's going to help them. It's just the whole organization. I mean, because there's support groups in colleges. Obviously, there's support groups in the NFL. I started 52 years ago. I used to have to do the bulk of it, of all of it, et cetera. And you still do, because obviously the main thing is his ability to play football. Okay, running, obviously the receiving part of it, the protection part of it. We're on them. We're on them. Quote about faking, carrying out their fakes. The whole deal, the whole process. Okay, we want players like Isaac. We want players like we already have here. When I say it's the 49 way, he's a part of that. Cody, we signed him as a free agent. He possesses those same traits. He's accountable, thorough. He's got that love for the game.
All right, Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. Does he have a ceiling? How much better can Christian McCaffrey get?
Christian wants to get better every day, and my job, along with the other coaches, but starting with me, since I'm the position coach, is to make sure, okay, that he doesn't want to be in a comfort zone in a low performance level. His standards are very high, and every day we're looking for him to improve.
I know the fumble in the Super Bowl is going to eat at him for a while. Is that something that you talk to him about letting go at all, or?
I talked to him about it the same time it happened when he came off the football field, because you have to be able to let it go. Yet it's one of those things you take personally, because it's very important to him. The ball is everything. Okay, he's carrying this whole organization, his family, my family. He's carrying that football. It's heavy. Okay, I always talk about how much it weighs, how long it is, and the nickname on it, Duke. You're carrying the Duke around. Well, he takes a lot of pride in that. Every time he touches the ball, he's trying to protect it, and unfortunately, that happened.
Is there anything in particular when you look at Christian's game that you want him to work on specifically this season?
No, not one thing specifically that he needs to improve on, because that's why he was here every day. Last year came in, early from day one, and he's constantly in my office or we're texting or talking to each other about, hey, Coach T, what do you think I need to work on this? What do you think about that route? What do you think about that run? Whatever it is. So we're critiquing and helping each other daily.